Yo, what's the story? In today's video, a whole lot of ways how not to ruin your DJI Osmo Pocket 3 footage. Let's go. Be aware of white balance, especially auto white balance, because it can go a little weird sometimes. And when it goes a little weird, the color shifts. And if the color shifts enough with auto white balance, then it's going to be a distraction to your audience. And if it's a distraction to your audience, they're not paying attention to the awesomeness that's coming out of your mouth or your video, and they may go somewhere else. If you're shooting in a daylight scenario, just dial in manual white balance to 5500 kelvins. That's it. However, in other scenarios, use auto white balance, see what it kind of levels out at, and then dial that in manually. It's a little bit of a cheat code, but it works in the best scenario, and then the white balance is locked off. To get the most stable footage from the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, even with its incredible little gimbal, you got to create a lot of pivot points. So elbows, you got to walk heel to toe, you got to walk heel to toe, crouch down a little bit. Loads of pivot points will absolutely help get you incredibly stable footage. And even then, depending on what you've done, you might just need to stabilize it a little bit in post-production, whether it's CapCut, Premiere Pro, Resolve, Final Cut, whatever. Now, all of that said, not going to work for every single shot. If it's a walking talking shot, you're going to look like an idiot. So just keep in mind the most stable footage. Maybe just use your arms in and out. Don't move your legs. One of the biggest ways to absolutely ruin your DJI Osmo Pocket 3 videos is to run out of battery. Keeping the brightness at 100% is going to eat your battery alive. So unless you really need 100% brightness, turn it all the ways down. In fact, if there's anything else that you can turn off the Osmo Pocket 3, just turn it off if you don't need it. Every little helps, as somebody says somewhere. Now, with the Osmo Pocket 3, you can charge it via USB-C with like a battery pack. And if you've got a super fancy one, you can charge it in like 20, 30 minutes, but you've got to have 30 watts of an output. So for that fast charge, that's what you would need. And you're actually going to see it on the Osmo Pocket 3 if fast charging is firing on all cylinders. Here's a big way to absolutely ruin your videos. If you're shooting something with the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 and you're the subject or your friends or the dog, or just make sure the sun or the light source is actually illuminating them. It's not behind, because that's going to cause all kinds of problem and exposure, how bright or dark it is. This is not the sun. I'm shooting this in Ireland at the moment, so there's no sun here really ever. So you can see my face is really, really dark. Yeah, bad idea. So if we turn around the other way, we can see now my face is beautifully illuminated. I don't think I've ever said the word illuminate in a video before, have I? Yeah, anyway. Right. Speaking of exposure, make sure to use the zebra option. Just use the zebra option. Turn it on in the settings, and then anytime you see a zebra on screen, it means that data more or less is dead. It's lost. Things are clipping, and basically it's overexposed. Anytime you see a zebra, you're probably not going to be able to fix that in post. And if you see a lot of zebras, run, because footage is gone. So change the exposure, or maybe use something like an ND filter. But either way, zebras, see them, not good. Digital zoom. I get it, all right? Digital zoom, it's nice to have. It's a digital zoom. It's okay. It's a little bit clunky to use. Personally, for me, I think in a lot of cases, using the Osmo Pocket 3 zoom, unless you're really desperate, just don't use it, because it's going to make your footage look not the best. Okay, not the best. So just leave the zoom alone. Auto mode. It is good enough for a lot of videos. It works pretty well, but the time will come where you want to up your level, up the game, and make things look a lot more professional. That's where you need to jump into manual mode on the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. Do not be afraid of manual mode, even if you're a complete noob. Don't be afraid of it. If you're using manual mode, that's going to enable you to get that infamous, famous, beautiful cinematic motion blur, but you're going to need ND filters to do so. But look, it's what they use in Hollywood, all right? So if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me and you. And if you want to see how to use ND filters, I've left a video at the end of this so you can see exactly what you need to do. Yep, you can plank yourself right in the middle, dead center of every Pocket 3 video that you make. But if you want to take it up to the next level, this is really easy to do. Just enable the grid. Those lines, just plank yourself onto the right or the left of those lines where they intersect, because that is just really basic composition. Now, let's not get into technicalities, but when you're kind of at those intersections, it's a lot more appealing and pleasing and beautiful to the human eye. So just do that. because you will look a lot better. Your videos will level up hugely and your audience is going to be like, this guy Hollywood's. Speaking of composition, use that for yourself, for like another person maybe. But the rule still kind of applies for anything else that you're shooting. Good rule of thumb, right? So have a background, a midground, and a foreground. So have something that you can more or less just grab off the screen, and have something that you could reach out and maybe get, and then have something that's like too far away that you can't get it. That's a good way of thinking of composition. So regardless of what you're shooting, if you can apply those rules, you will absolutely not ruin your Osmo Pocket 3 footage. Depending on the scene that you're shooting, you might just be better off not using the continuous focus, because sometimes it can just be hunting. It doesn't do it a lot, but things can go into focus, out of focus, and it's just really distracting to the audience. So just maybe use single focus, tap on what you want to keep in focus, and there you go. Just keep in mind, if you get closer to it or further away from it, it's going to get out of focus. But for a lot of shots, it could be an absolute game changer and lifesaver. Osmo Pocket 3 has got incredible slow motion. We've got 4K 60, 4K 120. However, if you want full control over the slow motion, just use 4K 60, because in your editing software, you can slow that down to like 40-50%. Every software is slightly different, but the idea is the same. So you're just slowing it down. Now, why would you just use 4K 60? What about the amazing 4K 120? 4K 120 doesn't give you full control. There's no audio for a start, and more importantly, well, 4K 120 comes off of the camera slow, right? It comes off, it just sounds wrong. It comes off slow. It's done. It's there. It's just slow. You can't really do anything with it. So full control 4K 60 or 4K 120 where and when it's needed. The lens on the Osmo Pocket 3 is 20mm, right? It's a 20mm lens, which is really wide enough for most folks. However, if you do want a wider shot, do not give DJI your hard-earned money for the wide-angle lens adapter, simply because it's going to cause distortions at the side. Yes, your video, your frame is going to be a lot wider, but it's going to be kind of all warpy at the side, and that's just like, ugh, doesn't look really good. And by the time you fix it in post, you don't have as wide of a shot that you originally started out with the wide-angle lens adapter. So what is the actual solution to all of this? Very simple. Just get a selfie stick or something that you can extend it out with. That's it. And you will have a far wider natural shot. From reading comments on the videos, some folks will probably watch this, go to their Osmo Pocket 3 and go, what he said I don't have? So if there's something missing, whether it's a setting or something else, make sure you're running the latest firmware on the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. You just update it through your phone. It's really quick, it's really easy, and nothing should break, in theory. But if there's something missing, update the firmware. Now, something else that you really need to be aware of is those ND filters. See? Check out here, and this is how you get the cinematic motion blur. Subscribe, love you, bye, thanks, watch this. YouTube algorithm will, yeah.